You are listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the voice of the Knights.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and I am a very, very special guest here today. It's not every day that we have a Nightly News Hall of Famer sitting in the studio with me, and of course, today we are here to welcome Nightly News Hall of Famer Brian Christiana. Brian, it's been since 2023 since you've been on the Nightly News Podcast. You came down to join us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. It's always a great time to be here, and like you said, 2023.
I'm shocked. That's the first question I asked you when you walked in is, hey, when's the last time you were on the show? And it was when Parker and Leslie and Christine and Tyler got into the Nightly News Hall of Fame back in 2023. You jumped on the show that day. Man, it seems like it's been forever.
And yeah, you're saying names that a lot of students these days might not even know. So imagine when you're hearing me, it's like, holy cow, who's that guy?
Well, today we're going to talk about some of the things that Brian has been up to over the last couple of years. Of course, he had a major article in our Pendulum recently, and we also want to talk a little bit about his podcast that he also has that we are going to be glad to talk about some of the guests that you've had on, Brian. So we have a full roster. Well, in Brian's spare time, first of all, Brian is a teacher, which is super amazing, the fact that you have been inspired to get into teaching. Just before we move off of this, Brian, this is now your second full year of teaching, right?
Fourth.
You've been teaching for 4 years.
Yeah, this is my fourth year.
Time just flies.
Yeah.
So in your fourth year, again, I don't want to make it all about this.
Sure.
But that is your main source of income.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you've experienced in your 4 years of teaching, and some of the things that you've taken away from the experience.
Oh my goodness, the education game, Paul. I mean,
13 years I've been doing that.
I do believe now in the quote, you pick and choose your battles, because that is the biggest takeaway I've gotten from teaching. Pick and choose your battles, because there's so many things that you can do that you feel you can change the world, or you can make an impact on something that maybe you shouldn't just stay away from. Maybe take a back seat to, and maybe there's some things that you probably should take a back seat to that I would recommend go for it. Working in education is not for everyone, by all means. There's days I go home and I go right to bed. There are days that I go home and I'm wide awake and ready to conquer the world. There's definitely been days where I've gone home and I've definitely questioned this choice. I'm not going to lie, and I'm sure you've dealt with that as well.
Everyone who's worked in education, I guarantee has, but I'm hoping that you see that the reason why people get into this industry is because they do feel and do hope that they have a genuine impact on the people. But one thing I've learned, and I was told by mentors that I had in the past, was you can't always reach everyone.
Yep.
And I think that speaks to your sort of advice for people who work in the educational spectrum.
Sure.
Is that you can't reach everyone, and you have to do whatever you can to keep up with those that you can, and take advantage of that and try not to get discouraged.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I'm not going to lie, I went into it thinking, I'm going to go change the world and just change the school that I work at, because I'm an alum from there, just like I am from here. And the biggest takeaway I took from it, and it's actually a good quote, is you're never going to be a prophet in your hometown. And I, going into there, hadn't really been involved for about 5 years. And
well, you were down here running the place.
I mean, yeah. And I went up there and I thought that I'm going to change this place. I'm going to make it for the better. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be like a ball of lightning or thunder and lightning going into there. And it's not the case. I use the quote now, and I'm serious when I say it. I always say I'm just Brian, and that's what it's come to.
Well, one thing I do want to point out, Brian, is that one of the things I'm so proud of you for, and of course I follow everything that you do on social media, you have been instrumental in getting the media program off the ground at the school that you work at. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was, obviously we know what my background is, announcing, writing, whatever it may be, and I went my interview was pretty crazy how it all happened. I went, I was just gonna do basketball, help coach basketball, which I was, and I went to see the one teacher that I'm close friends with and that I had in school, and he said, "Hey, go for a walk with me," and it was down to the principal's office, and boom, 10 minutes later, it wasn't even a real interview. I'm in gym shorts and a t-shirt getting asked what my background was in, if I had any writing samples, which, ladies and gentlemen, I gave my writing samples from one of the publications from my time here. That was my writing sample I gave to my principal.
That's why you do it. That's why we always tell people, like, this stuff will come in handy down the line. And it's amazing too. So you're also involved, like I said, with the media program there. So tell us a little. That's kind of how it got started. But tell us a little bit more about what you're actually doing on the day-to-day working with the students.
So yeah, I wanted to model it just like how it is modeled here. This was podcasting was the number one priority of it. Next is play-by-play. The kids do photography because, I mean, again, these are high school kids. We're dealing with 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. So, I mean, I can't ask them to go write a feature article for me right now. I mean, eventually that's the goal. But they're, just doing small stuff like that. They volunteer for sporting events as well. They'll volunteer at different events in school. So it is a project-based class. And, I mean, it's just coming up with different ideas. And my whole goal is to put them over in wrestling terms, as, WWE fans know. Put the spotlight on them. Make it all about them. And that's what it really is. It's a class that they get hands-on experience and they get, they get the recognition. They're getting recognition on social media, so forth. So it's a win-win. I get to feel good about myself, making an impact on these kids. They get to feel good because they get to learn something new and they get recognized for it.
There's no question. And I think that's the biggest joy that I have in my position as the co-advisor of the Nightly News is that so for instance, one of the things we've been doing is, we have worked really hard on creating this partnership with the Berg. The Berg is a highly well-regarded, news outlet here in Harrisburg. They have an online newspaper, and then they do their monthly piece. We have had now 4 articles published on their online piece, and we just recently had our first that's in the print publication. That means so much to me. Like, when I see the students light up, I'm talking light up when they see their work on the Berg or in the Berg. I mean, that to me makes all the difference, all the ins and outs, the day-to-day stuff that we deal with. Sometimes it's stuff like that makes you really remember why you got into this industry.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, you brought up some very, very exciting things for the organization and for the school in general. CP definitely is making more of an impact on the community more than ever. And I mean it when I say this. When I got here, it just seemed like, CP was just on its own little island in Summerdale, Enola. But now it seems like CP is the school of Harrisburg. I'm not going to lie. Playing games at City Island, getting involved with the Berg and so forth. All the organizations the school volunteers and partners with, it's pretty good. So I'm going to give CP their flowers there. And stuff like, getting involved with the Berg goes a long way, Paul.
Well, Brian, of course, we appreciate your time in the classroom and all the things that you're doing there, but we want to talk about some of the other fun things that you have been doing. Since the last time we've had you on the show, you have moved on to bigger and better things, and that includes stints as I would say in-game host. I don't know how you specifically, I know you call it hype man, but the in-game host for both the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Penguins and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre RailRiders. The RailRiders are the AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees, whereas the Penguins are the AHL affiliate of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, number one, how did you get involved with these, and what has that meant to your life over the past couple of years?
So you said last time I was on was 2023.
2023, yes. I believe it was episode 181.
Wow. So I had already been with the RailRiders last time I was on.
I think you just started because it was October. Maybe you'd been in your first season.
Yeah, so this is year number 5.
Okay.
So a year, but I mean, still, we just wrapped up season number 2 with them. So this is year number 5, and this honestly has been the toughest year for me at the Scranton Wilkes-Barre RailRiders, I will be honest, but this has definitely made me work harder as a professional. Year 4 was hands down the best year I had. Year 3 and year 4. I was there every game. I was the guy, and now we're teaching some people the role, trying to, and I think we're building for the future, which I understand now in a sports world role. I mean, I'm 28 years old now. I'm getting close to 30. The question that comes into mind is, all right, when is Brian going to start slowing down? Maybe, get serious about having a family, getting a life. And that question, I've thought about that myself, so I completely understand where the organization is coming from with that. So we've been training some interns. So I'm usually there about 2 days, a homestand, 2 games. And like I said, it's been very tough on me mentally, physically, and so forth. But it's still a good organization. Started with them in May of 2022. Got to do some really cool things. I mean, promotions like I gave away free Dunkin' for a year. Got to meet some great people. But the big thing in that role is it's not about me at the end of the day. It's about the fans, and it's about the team. And Northeast Pennsylvania, again, I'm not here to pat myself on the back. Not really like that. The games at baseball and at hockey, they were always like laid back, very quiet. And I came in kind of like a ball of fire, that bring that energy, bring that excitement, and they weren't used to that. So it took probably for about a good 2 years for Northeast Pennsylvania to get used to that, and now it's getting to the point where now it's normal. Attendance is up at baseball, very much so. Hockey, I can go on and on about them, and I will go on about hockey then, but baseball, the organization is doing very well. We made the playoffs last year, and I can't thank NEPA and the RailRiders enough because they've done so much for me. And without them, I'm not at the Penguins. I'm not.
I want to, before we go to the Penguins, I do want to just make a quick point. Last year, Brian had myself and my family up for a weekend at the RailRiders, and we got to spend a Saturday night and a Sunday with you, and it was one of the most memorable weekends of my entire summer, not only just because we got to hang out with you, and we went out to dinner afterwards and all of that. You were in your element. Those 2 games, they were, at least, especially the Saturday game. The Sunday game was well attended, but the Saturday game was just nuts. I know Julia White was there.
Yep.
Former Steve Urkel from Family Matters was there. After the game, he had like a DJ situation.
Yeah.
That was so memorable, and I still remember that. And then we went out for dinner afterwards, and then we got to catch up with you. Number one, thank you so much for having us, but it was so amazing to see you in your element in a beautiful AAA stadium, and we just had as much fun as. And Brian, I swear, if it wasn't a 2-hour plus drive up there, we would be up a lot more often. I don't know that we'll be able to get to see you this summer, but it's definitely something in the future we'd love to come up and see you.
Yeah, and I always said, like, I think I have at least when I hit 30 is when the question definitely will come into mind how much longer I can do this, especially with baseball. And again, I understand because a lot of the people that do the job that I do have started in baseball mostly because there's more teams in baseball and so forth. And it's tough to go through a whole season. I mean, in our case, there's 75 home games. Last year I did, I think, 68 of those. And I mean, like, at the end, I was like waving the white flag.
It takes it out of you by the end of the week. It has to.
Yes. And I mean, on Sunday.
That's 6 straight days. I mean, for any of those of you who don't really understand scheduling changes, post-COVID, the entire minor league basically went to, hey, we're off Mondays, and then you're in town 6 consecutive days against the same team, often with some day games in there. Sunday's always a day game, almost always. So, I mean, by the end of that week, yes, it's 1 week on, 1 week off typically, but by the end of that week, you got to be spent.
And here's the way we can transition from baseball to hockey. This was the first year that I went right from baseball, which again, I said 68 games around there. Now I'm going into hockey, which is another 36. And middle of September, end of September. So I had 2 weeks off.
Wow.
And
plus you're teaching too. Like
yes, I'm still in school.
Right.
I still have school going on. And I now transition into hockey. And Paul, I'm going to be real with you here, and I know most of the fans here probably like those Hershey Bears, which to each their own, whatever. Hockey's a different ball game, man. It's not a different game in general. And wow, what a blast working in hockey is. And I mean, people see it online. I got to be better about not trying to come off arrogant on social, which I mean, I'm not trying to. But hockey, I'm on cloud 9 when it comes to hockey.
Hockey is a different animal. It's a whole. It seems to me like it's more energy level. Do you know what I mean? Like as far as being that in-game host. But hockey is a whole different animal, and I've seen clips of you. I've yet to get to a Scranton game, but I've seen clips of you, and you are just in your element, man. And I think it's so cool. And again, AHL, AAA is a big deal.
Sure.
I take nothing away from that. Yep. The AHL, these franchises almost operate like a professional franchise in that, like, certainly just for frame of reference, any of you who go to a Bears game, there's nothing like it. Say what you will. I mean, I'm a Penguins fan myself, right?
Pittsburgh, nice.
Pittsburgh Penguins. But when I go to Hershey, I'm a Bears fan. I'm along for the ride. That is almost, they draw
very well.
As well, certainly as well as almost anyone in the AHL. But they draw as strong as some of the maybe lower end NHL teams.
Yeah, and with the Giants Center, I mean, like you said, they're going pretty high. They're going pretty good with attendance. If they had a bigger arena, they definitely could fill that. I mean, Giants Center roughly holds around 10,000, I believe, for hockey. If they were able to hold 15, 16, it would still be 15, 16,000.
I think so.
And I mean, I love it every time we play Hershey. I love it every time we go down to Hershey because I like to go, and I'll stay at Bob's house and so forth. But man, working in the AHL, like you said, it is a different ball game. And I talked about it. I'm pretty positive I talked about it in the pendulum, or maybe it was before we got some stuff got cut out. My routine is I'm there, but I have to get there around 3-4 hours early just to make sure get my stuff and gear, get everything all lined up, because it's, like I said, it's a different ball
Once
game.
those doors open,
it's different.
It's not like baseball where people kind of just mill in different times. I mean, the second those doors open in the AHL, man, there's a line out the door.
It is real. And one thing with baseball I love it because, first job was at an amusement park and so forth. Working in baseball, it's kind of like, family friendly, go get an ice cream cone. You can get $5 tickets, go get, a hot dog, so forth. No, you're going to see hockey to go see hockey. You're not going for, it could be a date night, but you're going to see grown men on ice hit each other and shoot a puck at a goalie.
What's your favorite thing about working in the AHL versus the baseball that you've done in the past?
Okay, so, and this is the question I get a lot, and I've honestly even debated doing like a TikTok video on it. I get the question a lot of which one do I like better. I'll start off with that. This is where I'm at. I love baseball because of, that's like holy ground. Look, you stare at a field, and that's holy ground to me still. Going to hockey, I love the game. I love watching hockey now, like watching these grown men hit each other, watching the strategy, just watching everything about it. The fans getting loud, getting into it.
It's as intense of a game as you will ever see. And listen, baseball can be intense in its own right. It
can be.
Especially in the 8th and 9th innings. Hockey's intense from the opening faceoff.
And and that's another thing also. And what I love about hockey is the demographic of hockey. I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming from. Is hockey, it seems like the crowd and the fan base is really young. It's a younger fan base, where baseball, which again, it's a great sport, but that's focusing more on your family-friendly, your older people and so forth, and they're not going to be loud and excited. They're gonna,
not always, but I'm sure on occasion.
They're going to sit back, enjoy it, and so forth. I do love hockey. I do love baseball, but hockey, oh, man, Paul, I would tell anyone, come up and see me at the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. It's going to be a great year. We finished in the Final Four. This past year. Yeah, we almost made the Calder Cup final.
I mean, you beat Hershey.
We did beat
in the
Hershey.
First round, and which is surprising because didn't Hershey win 2 Calder Cups in a row?
So not this.
A year before.
A couple years, like 23, 24, I think. Yeah,
okay.
But still, you're playing the Hershey Bears.
Right.
And I remember when Hershey, no. Springfield knocked off Charlotte. So how it works was we were the first and second get a bye. We would play the lowest. Well, we played the highest seed that remained. Hershey upset Bridgeport. Springfield upset Charlotte. So we got Hershey. And as some people know, same position as me as the Bears, Bob Hauer. I took that series very personal, just because it's Bob. It's Bob. I mean, come on. I mean, we've had him on here before,
Absolutely.
And we've had some fun with him. I was so invested, and the fact that we knocked them off, was it 3-1? Yeah, 3-1.
I believe so.
Yeah, we beat them in 4. And that was honestly the greatest feeling in the world.
Because you were hoping for a Game 5 because it would have been in Scranton.
Yes, as nice as a Game 5 would have been, I mean, winning at home, I would have got...
Take the W where you can get it.
Yeah, exactly, especially down at Hershey, and, I think we won 4-1 or 4-2.
So did you go to all those games?
Yeah, I did.
So you went to the road games, too? You weren't working just as a fan?
No.
That's
so,
really cool.
I went with Hauer. I went with Hauer's family. First game, I sat in the season ticket area with his son, Caden, and... that was the game where there was a very controversial goal in overtime. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember talking to you about that.
Yes, because, again, Hershey fans, not your brightest moment, but they threw stuff on the ice.
I remember that. That actually got national coverage.
It did get national coverage, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope the people of Northeast Pennsylvania don't do something like this if it happens to us. And crazy enough, Paul, it did an event like that did happen to us where, very questionable call, but our fans thankfully did not react. But yeah, beating Hershey in the first round, one of the greatest feelings I ever had in my life. And
That's
I mean
amazing.
that. Second round, we played Springfield. That went to 7, and we won 8-0 in Game 7.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it went crazy. Go to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Calder Cup champion Toronto Marlies. We were down 2-0, lost the first 2 games at home. Then we won Game 3 and 4, lost Game 5 because then it went 2-3-2, 3 in Toronto. We went back home down 3-2. We lost at home. But one of them had a controversial finish similar to the one in Hershey where it bounced off. Did it bounce off our goalie's back or something?
Oh.
And it went in.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, heartbreaker. So hockey, definitely one of the best. We do some really cool promotions. I got to really go out of my shadow this year with, my creativity. And there's a video online you can find. It's from 570 Media Company where they did like a little documentary with me.
Cool.
Yeah, they did a behind the scenes with Brian Christiana. And I talked about how I never was really into the cosplay stuff. I was just, that the RailRiders always brought it up to me, and they weren't like, they were fine with me doing it, but it wasn't the end of the world. But I never did it up there. Now at hockey, that's all I do. Dressed up as John Cena, dressed up as Mario, dressed up as Ted Lasso, which, hey, August 5th. We're recording this, obviously, before that. But I really was creative and got to have some creative control, as they say in the WWE again, with these costumes, Paul. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was something I never thought I'd be comfortable doing, and the Penguins really did a good job on getting me out of that shell. So
real quick, just because we have a couple more things we want to chat about here before we get out of here with Brian today. Nightly News Hall of Famer Brian Christiana. You were actually featured in a Pendulum article here in the last edition. It's also available on centralpenn.edu. Just search for Brian Christiana's name, and it's entitled Central Penn College Communication Alumnus Becomes a Hype Man for Humanity. It's a really, really good piece. Some awesome pictures of you, and really just kind of talks about how you've become and even one of the subheads in the story is becoming a familiar face for Pennsylvania sports fans. I mean, just in a general sense, Brian.
Yeah.
And you've worked at these positions in a variety of capacities, but you worked for the Harrisburg Senators. You worked for the Barnstormers. Now you're with the 2 teams in Scranton. I mean, you've worked with 4 different professional sports franchises during your time since you've not only been at Central Penn, but post-Central Penn. And I think that this article does a really, really nice job. Just real quick, what did you feel like? What were your thoughts when you got approached about doing this story?
Finally. No, I'm only kidding. No, honored. So how this all came about, I dressed up for the Penguins. I don't know what I dressed up as, though. But Linda got tagged in it. I think Sherry Long.
I remember that.
Yes.
Because I saw that because Sherry and I are connected on social media.
So Sherry tagged Linda in this, and I forget which costume it was. And Linda, I guess, sent it to the right people, and here we are today. I mean, that article was very well written. And like I said, there was a lot that had to be unfortunately taken out, but, I mean, Diane did a heck of a job with it.
Diane's awesome.
And it's very well written. It's very accurate. Everything was so well written. Again, I'm not trying to, I don't want the head to get too big, but it's very nice to see a place that has meant so much for me. Give me the recognition that, and attention that.
The Hall of Fame award wasn't enough, or?
I mean, yes, that definitely was. I mean, that was.
I'm not even in the Hall of Fame.
Yet. I mean, it's one of those things, Paul, when you're the one that decides who gets to go, and do you really want to?
I'm certainly not going to put myself in.
Exactly, and that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm very thankful for everything this place has done for me. We still do stuff, working with you. I still have to do more with Casey. I genuinely do.
Well, and that's the thing, Brian. Before we get off of that and move to the final piece here, you do still call games for us, and you still are doing high school basketball with Black Diamond as well.
Yeah.
And so, listen, the one thing no one's ever going to say about you is that you're lazy. I mean, you gotta have 10 jobs. I mean, especially during basketball season, you were coaching, you were doing games for me, you were doing other high school games, so you're doing high school and college, and this isn't even taking into consideration your work with the RailRiders and the Penguins. I mean, Brian, how you are able to function on top of teaching and doing all of these other things is incredible. And of course, as soon as the season schedule gets posted for basketball, I'll connect with you and see when you can get back on the areas, because it's always a pleasure to get to call games with you, and we continue to do some amazing things with what we're doing with
and the last couple of years have been really fun doing these games, because especially seeing Riley Young.
Yeah, absolutely. And he just graduated.
Yep.
And I remember, in fact, that was one of the last couple times that we chatted, is I sent you a message and I said, hey, Brian, Riley's graduating tonight. I want you to make sure that you reach out to him, because he always looked up to you, and I'll tell you, he was always happy to know that when you were coming.
Yeah, he's a heck of a kid. I've known him since he was probably, 9, 10 years old, and seeing what he did here. And I mean, that story alone, transfer student, didn't get the opportunity that he felt he deserved, and I definitely can see it. But he worked hard. He came over here and really hustled.
Absolutely.
He really did.
He was great to
always proud of him.
He was great to get to watch when we called those games. Well, listen, I want to take the last couple of minutes here, Brian, to talk a little bit more about yet another
one
adventure that you have embarked upon over the past couple of years, the Brian Christiana podcast. I have been fortunate enough to be on that podcast a couple of times, but just so you know, and I'll share this link along with you, but you can check it out at youtube.com /at Brian Christiana podcast. Is also available on your favorite podcast streaming platform.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the Brian Christiana podcast, some of the guests you've had on. Tell us a little bit more about it.
So again, interview based, just having those conversations, who, what, when, where, why, talking a little bit about people's careers and so forth. I love hearing about people, like what they do. And this goes back on that article. I love making people feel like $1 million, being that cheerleader, being that hype man for humanity and so forth. And everyone has a story. And for the longest time, it was always, Brian, why don't you have a pod? And I was like, man, it just seems like a lot of work.
It is.
You're right, it is. And the toughest part for me is the scheduling. Finding free time for you, finding free time for the others, and, reaching out to them. For the most part, people love it.
Oh, yeah.
People are honored that you're inviting them on, and they love the idea of getting to talk on a microphone and headset. But, yeah, some of the people I've had on, holy cow. Pull up the YouTube one. So we're looking here on YouTube. There's Adam Hamway from the New Jersey Devils. He is the public address announcer. Phil Hewlett, he's the public address announcer. Mike Plogger is from the Washington Nationals and the Capitals.
You've got an insane amount of amazing people.
Wait,
on
there's
here.
one that's very notable that a lot of people know, and it's actually from the Miami Heat. He just retired. Michael Bayamonte. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever. If you watch a Miami Heat game, he is the
absolutely.
2 minutes dose. Oh, who else? There's an author on there. Is it Sterling?
Dennis Snelling.
Dennis Snelling. Yep, I'm so sorry, Dennis.
The Whiz Kid.
Yeah, so actually, how I found out about him, okay, he was featured on PA Books.
Okay.
So I was
on PCN?
Yes, on PCN, the place I interned at. I just went on their website, looked up, different people to try to get on, and he was there. So I messaged him, got back to me, and so forth. Crazy enough. And again, we are at the end of July, about to go into August 1st. The next person I'm trying to book is Travis Blankenhorn.
Okay.
Do you know who he is?
I do not.
Travis Blankenhorn was a former Major League Baseball player.
Oh.
Yes. And he is actually a real estate agent now in Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
We all know who's from Pottsville, right?
Parker
Rose.
Nightly News Hall of Famer.
Yes. So I'm working on getting Travis Blankenhorn on the show. I'm very thankful also that a lot of these guys I've not had to pay to have on my show, because I know some people will be like, yeah, pay me, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've definitely used the Penguins and RailRiders angle on getting these people.
Why not?
Yeah. There are definitely some people I still would like to get on. But yeah, no, it's the pod is a lot of fun, very exciting. And again, it's hyping people up, making people feel like $1 million. And I mean, that's the biggest takeaway from getting it, is putting the spotlight on someone else. It's putting them over in WWE. I've said that 3 or 4 times now today, but I mean, that's seriously what it is. I mean, it's so easy to do it, especially when it just keeps on rolling and rolling and rolling. And a lot of these people on the show, I'm very fortunate, have been very good. Now, there's some on there that I've done in collaboration with a friend of mine. His name is Jared Yurtanen. He's out of Northeast Pennsylvania, the Scranton area, and he actually owns a media company. It's called Agape Freedom Sport, and they interview high school kids that are playing mostly baseball and softball. So some of those episodes on there, as you can see there, from Carbondale, there's some other high schools on there. Berwick is on there, because it covers mostly District 2. So, I mean, it's just, and also building that skill of doing the podcasting and so forth. And the one big takeaway I always get from, because I'm interviewing people from Northeast Pennsylvania, is they'll be like, aren't you the guy from the Penguins? Or aren't you the guy from the RailRiders? That's a cool part.
You're famous, man.
All right, so that's another thing. Like,
last word.
Sure, I get that a lot, and it took a while for me. At first, I was like, please, no, I'm just Brian and so forth. Then after a while, I started to really believe it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I am, and I got really cocky with it. And now when people say it, it's more or less like, okay, thank you, I'm very thankful, but I also have to remember I'm just Brian at the end of the day. I am the school teacher. I'm the guy that represents the Penguins on camera and the RailRiders, and so I'm very thankful. I'm very humbled. But I'm just a normal person, just like anyone else.
Well, I appreciate that. Great way to close. Well, just a couple things I want to recap. Certainly, this upcoming season, you can check out Brian at the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Penguins. You can go to centralpenn.edu, put Brian's name in, and read his Pendulum article, or if you have the last edition of the Pendulum, you can check him out. You can also go to youtube.com/the Brian Christiana podcast to check out his pod. And of course, if you're looking for some nostalgia, you can always go to cpcnightlynews.com and search for Brian's name and see some of his old articles and podcasts as well. Brian, my gosh, it's always such a pleasure to get to see you, and I know that we don't get to see each other that much, but anytime we do get to see each other, it's a blast, and I just thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come down and be on the Nightly News podcast. We hope to have you again soon.
Yeah, I can thank you so much, and again, Paul, you've always done so much right there. I mean, there's a bunch of people, you, Mike, Adrian, Lindsay by far. Ron is no longer here, Ron Amarello. I mean, Linda. Oh, boy, I can go on and on. Romeo, Casey Hicks, Michael Nill's not here anymore. How about that name? Haven't said that one in a while. Dave Baker. I mean, holy cow, there's been some people.
Dave just got into the Athletic Hall of Fame last year.
I saw that.
Which was really cool because they also honored Quentin Heckert as well. Who was
very well deserved. I also have to give Chris Sheriff his love, too, because Chris was always a big role. He was actually the first person I met here on campus.
Well, and I brought up Quentin because that was the team that when we started calling
the documentary.
Games, yeah. So anyway, but Brian, listen, man, it's always such a pleasure. Nightly News Hall of Famer Brian Christiana, you got a seat in the podcast anytime.
Yeah, and actually, you know what's great? And this goes back to Central Penn. Final thing I'm going to say.
Of course.
My worlds collided, Central Penn and Northeast Pennsylvania, with sports. A former employee here, Kevin Wolverton, moved to Northeast Pennsylvania.
Did he really?
So yes, he lives up in Pittston now. So I see Kevin pretty frequently, and we've gone out to eat already.
Tell Kevin I said hi. Kevin used to work at the Mechanicsburg Fire Hall.
Yep.
And we used to go down. They had a breakfast once a month, which was awesome. It was like $10, and I would always I'd see Kevin here because Kevin was a former security officer, and he's like, hey, we got that breakfast Saturday. I'm like, you know where I'll be. So, yeah, I know Kevin really well, so tell him I said hi next time.
We went to the famous Ravello's Pizza, which Northeast Pennsylvania is the pizza capital of the world.
Haven't seen any pizza reviews from you lately.
Yeah, with the weight loss, I mean, that definitely played a big role. But, yes, that's a big thing, especially when I have Central Penn and Northeast Pennsylvania coming together at RailRiders and Penguins games. So, shout out to you, Kevy. Thanks again for everything, and You're the man, Paulie.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. All right, well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. Of course, all of these links will come along with our article, but of course, we appreciate Nightly News Hall of Famer Brian Christiana for joining us here today. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. We'll see you again next time.
Hi, this is Brian Christiana. Thank you for listening to the Nightly News Podcast, a part of the Nightly News Media Club here at Central Penn College.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and I am so honored to be joined by coach of the Central Penn Knights women's soccer team, Coach Rudy Grubesky. Coach Grubesky, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here again, Paul.
And, of course, it's our pleasure to have you on the show today. Also being joined here by Nightly News President Alex Foley. Alex, welcome back to the show in your own right.
Hello. I'm excited to be back.
And we're certainly excited to have you. And we are also being joined by one of the women's soccer players, Honestee Coldsmith. Honestee, I know that you said you haven't done this for a while, but you've been on a podcast before?
Yeah, so actually sophomore year, I was a part of my news channel in high school. So I would do the news for it.
Well, there's certainly plenty of opportunity with the Nightly News. Should you ever be so inclined to join us, we would love to have you, especially with that experience that you have. Okay, well, today is going to be a soccer preview, women's soccer preview for what we have coming up here on campus. Of course, everything that we're talking about here, you can go to centralpennknights.com and click on the women's soccer program. It's going to have the schedule, it's going to have the roster, and it's going to have some really important news about the team and what they are up to. So Coach, there's a lot of different things we want to talk about here today. But of course, first of all, I want to just start off by talking about some of the key games on the slate this season. Of course, again, you can always go to centralpennknights.com for more information. But I did want to point out a couple of key dates. First of all, we are opening the home season September 8th against Penn State Greater Allegheny. There's also home games on September 18th and 23rd, as well as October 13th, and of course, homecoming on October 16th. Of course, homecoming, always such a great night for our soccer programs as well. So not only, and of course, there's many games on the road as well, but tell me a little bit more about what you're looking forward to. You're here in the off season. You're getting ready to start, our practices, but you have a game coming up here very, very soon. So talk a little bit about where you're at with the preparation with the team, Coach Grubesky.
Okay, well, what we've done since the girls got on campus for the summer term, done some team bonding events. We watched one of the World Cup games, had a team dinner, had some team meetings. We hosted an ID clinic last Saturday so that girls actually got on the field to get a practice in. The prospective student athletes could play against our current players, which I think it's good for the recruits to see the level that we're playing at. So we're gearing up for starting practice on August 17th. And as you said, Paul, we have 3 practices, and then we're playing a scrimmage down in Westminster against Carroll County Community College.
I mean, that's got to be so quick. I mean, you come, obviously we're on the quarter system. We have a variety of nuances here at Central Penn, but essentially, when you say you're just sort of starting to practice, you're just now starting to practice because of USCAA rules. Mm-hmm. So can you just share with us just a little bit of that about what some of that nuance is with the rules through the USCAA and when you can practice?
Yeah, we're allowed 19 weeks a year. So what we do is the bulk of that is 15 of those are in the fall. We're hoping to go from August into hopefully November into the championship game and to the national tournament. And then over the winter, we have an off-season conditioning program. The girls play in an indoor league. I can't coach them during that time frame. And then in the spring, we're allowed 4 weeks. So we're trying to schedule a spring game. We've only been able to play one spring game to date. They did not have one until I got here, and then last 2 years, due to rain and field conditions, we weren't able to play the spring game. We're also trying to like to welcome back our alumni, so we're trying to organize to give us a second game in the spring is have an alumni game.
So what kind of challenges do you have just on the field? Of course, just being a small college in the USCAA, there are some inherent challenges, which I don't want to talk about, but just in terms of preparation, how does only having those 3 practices before you go into the season complicate things?
One of the things in the scrimmage is going to be 2 25-minute halves, and then there will be another session on just set pieces. So we'll have an opportunity to run our sets, attacking-wise, and then we'll defend against theirs. And, if they don't naturally occur during the game, like a corner kick, goal kick, direct free kick, indirect free kick. So we'll get a chance to run those set pieces in this scrimmage. So, it'll be busy 3 days, and just trying to get girls acclimated to the August weather as well. But, then we have some time to get ready for that September start.
Well, I want to come to Honestee because I know that Honestee, that you have been involved in some of the things that we've done in the past. So now that you've gone through one full season, now you're into the off season, get ready for season 2. What were your impressions from the program, things that you learned, things that you want to improve upon this year? How can you sort of stack up how your first year fits into the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, so this year so far already, commitment is a big thing. We are working on that really well. It's just really important to be committed to something like this because it is a lot. It's a lot with programs. It's a lot with your outside life, like work and stuff like that. So commitment is our biggest opportunity that we have right now. With last season, I was a freshman, one of the newest recruits and everything, and I really learned to work with my team. I learned what we need to work on, what kind of mentality we're building, and I feel like we are strong together. It's just whether or not we can play strong, which is why we have these practices that start earlier so that we can work on everything of that. But for this season, I am excited to work with all of our new recruits, returning players, Coach Rudy, of course, hoping to see, like I said, that commitment and strong mentality that we have, hoping that we can come out with some wins, especially against Christendom. So we're hoping to see some of that this season.
And would you say Christendom is our arch rival?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's funny because in other sports, because I do the broadcast for basketball and baseball, it's Bucks. So I think it's interesting that other rivalries emerge in different sports. So what is it about Christendom that really you lock in on that game maybe a tiny bit more than others?
Yeah, so they're a really great team, but they have such good passing sequences, and they're just so well put together that we're so close to them that we could beat them. It's just whether or not we're in the game, have the amount of players that we need, and obviously the weather can depend on that too. So we're so close to beating them. We held them off really well last year. We were kind of down for the count. Had some injuries and stuff, but we all fought really hard. So I feel like this year, if we stay out of the injuries and just keep up with everything, that we'll be able to beat them.
Well, I mean, in fairness, injuries are going to happen. They're going to happen in any sport. It's just a matter of can when those injured players go out, can they, number one, even from the sidelines, inspire and influence other people, but additionally, can some of those folks who may not have had a starting role initially, can they step up? And that's, because like I said, it's almost impossible to go through a season without any injuries, especially serious ones. And of course, we never hope that happens. It's just a matter of, can those other folks sort of step in? Well, Honestee, you mentioned something about commitment and how the players on the team have such a wide variety of backgrounds, not only just where they're from, but also what they're doing here on campus, whether they're getting involved or whether they're working off campus. And that's why I want to bring Alex in here because we have had something to keep an eye out for. Coach Grubesky reached out to us, and he's great at doing that, and I appreciate it immensely. About doing a day in the life video. So, Alex, I just want to share, we'd met with Coach Grubesky last week, and so I just want to share with the audience a little bit more about this project that you're working on. So do you want to share a little bit more with me about what your vision is for this day in the life video we're doing with the women's soccer team?
Sure. So the vision for this day in the life video is to just create a short 2-3 minute video kind of showcasing what a life as a women's soccer player at Central Penn actually looks like. What does that commitment actually look like? So if a high schooler who's considering going to Central Penn or considering playing soccer in college is looking online for, information, wants to see what their life might actually look like, they're going to be able to see our team and be like, that could be me. So I want to get shots of, what does it look like? How do you balance class and going to the gym and homework? And where do you study? How do you keep up with friends? What does practice look like? How much are you committing? What do our games look like? What's the fun and the hard and the difficult and the whole experience actually look like? So that's what I'm hoping to showcase.
And Coach Grubesky, this was sort of your idea. I mean, is anything you'd like to add above and beyond what Alex shared with us?
I thought she really did a nice job talking about what we'd really like to see, because I think it'd be a huge boost for recruiting. I get asked about day in the life video. I mean, we get a lot of play out of the videos on YouTube that you had mentioned we did last year. So I'm looking forward to working with Alex and the players that are going to be involved to just show like, okay, this is what you can expect if you come to Central Penn.
And I think it's important because, and honestly, I want to come back to you about this. Is you mentioned this commitment. Sometimes I don't want to say from an outsider's perspective. I think a lot of the times we only visually see the games, right? We don't see what goes in. We don't see the practices. We don't see the gym. We don't see that your weight training and all the things that come along with being a student athlete. And that's not even taking into consideration going to class and doing your homework. So tell me a little bit more about maybe something that surprised you as you stepped up from high school to college soccer. Even I know you have experience with this in the past, but how are things different at the college level versus what you'd experienced in the past?
Yeah, so as I'll say a high schooler, I did not work out at all. I just kind of went home, went to work, went to soccer practice, and that was it. And granted, that's probably why I got my injury, so because I didn't work out. But
when you say injury, do you mind sharing with us a little bit?
Yeah, my sophomore year, I tore my MPFL straight through.
What is that?
Medial patella something ligament. It's like the ligament on the side of your knee. So the girl kicked my kneecap out and it slingshotted into my ligament. Yeah, slicing it. That was at a big spring game. That was my last game of the season. Just came back from a 2-week concussion. So I was out, didn't play my junior year, came back my senior year, was kind of benched. Yeah. So it was really hard for me. So coming to college, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to play soccer in college. I thought I was done, didn't feel potential in myself or anything, but Coach Rudy reached out to me. So I got to play for him, and you became one of our leaders. I mean, isn't it crazy how life goes?
Yeah. I mean, so just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I worked really hard for it. I feel like personally my whole life. I played soccer for 16 years now, and I felt like I was always in the shadow. And I'm very grateful that I get to be a captain. It's one of my favorite things, updating the girls and everything. But soccer in general here is just different. There's a lot more you have to do. You have to keep up with your studies. You have to meet a certain average. You have to have a certain amount of credits. I work out all the time. I'm either in the gym, I'm running. I've ran with the cross-country coach, Coach Kelly. She actually helped me find my love for running again.
We did an amazing, I don't know if you read this, but we did an amazing piece on Coach Kelly about all those marathons. She's been all over the world. I've never actually gotten to meet her in person, but she's got a very interesting story, and you can check that out on cpcnightlynews.com. What did it feel like when you were named captain?
I don't know. It was super exciting. It felt super rewarding. I felt something in myself. I'm very hard on myself. Like
you'll see,
you'll see me in a game. Like you'll see me, my head's down or something or anything like that. I'm very hard on myself. So when I was told about the opportunity of being captain, it was like, wow, like somebody else sees the potential I have and I don't ever see it in myself. So when I was told that, I didn't know what to say. I was kind of like dumbfounded, and I was super excited. And I feel like it's a great opportunity for me to be a leader. I love being a leader. I love being in control sometimes.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I have heard some things from the girls about good feedback about me and Anaya being captain and everything. So that's always great,
especially in your second year, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I want to go to Alex here. Alex, it kind of reminds me of when, Noah obviously graduated and now you're stepping into the president's shoes. Did you have that same type of feeling when you were, given that position because of all of your amazing hard work? Like, did you have that same kind of emotion and feeling when, you listen? I know that to a point we all are our own worst critics, and maybe, confidence is something that it needs to be built over time. But what was it like for you when you first found out that you were going to step into the president role with the Nightly News?
Oh, absolutely. It was such a rewarding feeling. I remember when I first got here and I first joined the club, I'd never had work published before. I'd never had work read on the level that it was being read, just publishing articles here with the Nightly News. I was so self-critical. I was nervous and I was scared before I released each article, and then slowly with making connections within the Nightly News, everybody just kind of helped build me up, and it felt like being, elected the club president, it felt like it was all of that building up coming to a head. It was like, oh wow, this is where it led. This is incredible to me.
And you've also been published in the Berg multiple times.
That's also incredible.
To see your work on, again, one of the most highly regarded news entities in the entire state of Pennsylvania. In fact, they recently have won the PNA award for the 6th consecutive year as the top news outlet in PA. And to know that you have been published on multiple occasions and, we're still working on pitching future stories to the Berg for you, I think is to your point, that culmination. And that's why I'm just trying to make sort of this comparison here. Because Honesty's in a situation where she had an injury, out for the entire next season. Senior year didn't quite go how it wanted. But because Coach Grubesky saw something in you and had given you an opportunity last year, and then you come in and you crush it to the point where now you're a captain. And of course, that is amazing. But I'm telling you, from a business perspective, you're the type of person that they want to bring in. You have that leadership ability. That's evident to them. And so that's where these types of things that happen carry so much more weight than off the field. And this, Alex, the same with you. I mean, when you go into a job interview, those are the types of things that you need to bring up. How you worked so hard to get to where you are, and how, that work ethic has shined through to the point where not only the advisors of the club or the coach of the team believes in you, so do the other people who surround you and are part of that team. So I think that's really, really cool. Coach, I just wanted to shift gears here really quickly, and I wanted to talk about community service, because one of the things that the Nightly News we try to do as frequently as possible is to give back to the community, both at the school and locally. We did one of our biggest events we've ever done. We did a really awesome bingo fundraiser last term, and we worked with Happy Lifestyle. We were able to donate over $1,700 to this organization. But that is something that is part of the tenet of your program as well. So tell us a little bit about not only why it's so important to you, but some of the things that you've done.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Before I address that, could I just, because Honesty's being very humble, we saw her at our ID clinic when we were recruiting her, and she stole the show. And so we had a lot of expectations when she came in as a first-year player. And then she ends up earning the Rookie of the Year, All-Conference player.
Athlete of the Month?
Yeah. So she's... to me, like, she leads by example, and I think that's what we're looking for as we try to change the team culture here. As you said, community service, one of the missions of the college, and we take that serious. We've won out of the last 3 years, 2 years, we've won that award as a team, the Community Service Award. So we take a lot of pride in that. We want to get it back this year. So far, we've worked with we have the West Shore Connect program on campus, and their teacher wanted us to do something physical with them, a physical activity. So this year, we waited till later in the spring, because the 1 year we worked with them, it was in February, so we were playing inside the conference center and doing some other stuff with them. But so we were able to get outside, and she saw some things in those students as far as that when they got involved, that they were very excited to play with our college players. They're our biggest fans when they come to a game. So that's one of the things. And then as the summer term started, we did some work with Kareem's mission in the spring as well. But this summer so far, they asked for help on a setup of special event. So we had players there helping to set up for that. So giving back to the college community, but also the Harrisburg community in general. We've worked at food banks. We've done youth clinics. So, those are some of the things that I asked the girls to get involved in. They've bought into that, the community service that we're trying to do.
And Honestee, coming in when you're talking about being the captain and being one of the people who's shepherding in a new culture here for Knights women's soccer, how do you feel that the community service element plays into that?
Let me say, I love community service. I love doing things for other people. It is just a matter of getting people to be there. And it's not really hard. I mean, you say you want community service and everything. And these programs, like my program, I'm in the medical assisting program. I have to have 25 hours of community service. So we get to, do that and everything. But community service helps our soccer program. It just not only gives us something to do, but gives us something to give back as a team and to work together and bond together as a team.
And it's a team building exercise too. So I want to come to Alex here. Alex, one of the biggest things that we have done as the Nightly News since you've come aboard is we have tried to have some type of community service project that we were working for. Now, I will say that the bingo sort of went over 2 terms because it was such a big event and we had so many moving parts. But how do you feel from our perspective that community service contributes to the mission of the Nightly News?
Oh, I think it's so important. I think that as a news organization, we have to be connected with our community. It's not just Central Penn, and especially in recent terms, working with the Berg, we're branching out beyond just our campus. We're trying to see how we can get involved in other areas, and I think community service is a huge piece of that because it strengthens those bonds and it gives us and our club members opportunities to give back to others as well and think beyond just our campus.
And that's extremely well said, and something that I have always believed in, and personally is getting involved in the community. I've worked with Camp Hill Challenger Baseball, and I've gotten our baseball team for the 5th consecutive year to come over to be a part of what we have going on, and it's just something that the people who you interact with, they don't forget this stuff. You mentioned West Shore Connect. I can tell you from personal experience that the kids that I work with in Challenger Baseball, they literally look forward to the day when the Central Penn players come because they look at them like you're professional athletes. Like, I know that for you being so humble, as Coach Grubesky said, I know that it may seem, flattering or maybe even overwhelming, but I'm telling you that the impact that it has on these groups of folks, whether it be a youth clinic or whether it be a special needs community or whatever it is, I think that it has such an important impact, not only just for you in a resume and a requirement, but as a human being, Well, hey, Coach, as we move to our sort of final piece here, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about not only the core players like Honestee and Anaya, but some of the new recruits that are coming in your 2026 class.
Yeah, we're really excited about this group. One of the girls has been on campus since January. She started her PTA major in January, so she worked in the spring with our goalkeeper coach. So Erica is going to be working in goal this season. One of the things I've coached in the York Adams League when I coached high school. About 15 years ago. I've been at the college level now. But 2 girls from the York Adams League, Lily from Dallastown and Dylan from Kennerdale. I think we're expecting big things from them. We have a transfer. We were actually recruiting her when she was in high school. She's been here for ID clinics. So she ended up going to Gettysburg, and she's transferred from Gettysburg College. So we're excited for having Diana here. One of the things is, we get a lot of support from the faculty like you. And 2 of the players that are jumping in to help us, Professor Taylor Lentz asked me to come in. She said, I have some very athletic girls in my PTA class, and so I went in and kind of gave them our sales pitch. And one of the things you alluded to earlier was I had talked to Carrie and our HR director, and she said being part of a college team is huge on resumes.
100%.
Yeah, and so 2 of the girls decided to jump in and play. Both, I think, are going to have an impact. One was at our ID clinic on Saturday, and she looked very, very good. Well, she played 4 years in high school. And, when you can get those types of players that are already on campus, it helps to add to our roster.
And Honestee, as a captain, who is maybe one person that's new to the team that you really have your eye on and think that they're really going to do some amazing things?
Yeah, so there's actually two I can confidently say is Dylan and Lily. I watched them play in their indoor winter season. Dylan, super fast. She can get the ball up. And then Lily, she's great at, shielding the ball, getting the ball forward to Dylan and everything. Lily's there for everything pretty much right now. She shows up to all of our community service, all of our events. Dylan does commute, so it is a little harder to get her on campus, but still, those two, I'm super excited to see what they can do, excited to see where they can play. Yeah, I'm excited for all my girls. I'm excited for every single one.
No, it's always tough to have to limit things, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, of course. Well, one last thing I wanted to chat about, Coach, is the coach. So you have 2 returning coaches, but you also have a new coach as well. Do you want to just share with us a little bit more about your coaching staff?
Sure. I've got 2 very good assistant coaches, Caleb Murin, who has 2 degrees from Central Penn.
I've had her in class. That's why last year when you brought her aboard, I was really excited about that.
And Allie Quinn, who's working as a PTA right now. And Allie actually led us my first year here to the championship game as our goalkeeper. So she does a great job with our keepers. But we've added a volunteer assistant, Maddie Foster. She played D2 at Lock Haven. She has a master's degree. She's working on hours toward her certification as a sports performance coach. So Casey, our athletic director, approved her coming on board to work on things like goal setting, resilience, mental toughness, and I think it came up in discussion earlier, but I think Honestee might have mentioned, I think these players are so hard on themselves, way harder than I am. Like we do the end of season interviews and evaluations of the season, and they on the self evaluation they rate themselves a lot harder than I thought they did a lot better. So I think she's going to help with self confidence. I think that is really important. Honestee said that the difference I think between high school and playing college, that just the speed of play. Is to kind of get these girls acclimated to the speed of play at the college level, and just being that confidence out there, confidence on the ball is really important.
Well, first of all, I want to wish you the best of luck in your season. Of course, we are massive Central Penn Knights fans here of all sports, so we will certainly keep a close eye. Alex is going to continue working on the Day in the Life video, and we're going to look forward to releasing that later this year. But I just want to give you guys such a massive amount of props. Because, again, I don't know that the average person realizes what goes into being a student athlete. And Honestee, I really appreciate your insight in it's not just about showing up for the games, There's so much more that goes with that. And that's not even taking into consideration job, social life, things like family, right, and all of those types of things. So I give you all the credit in the world, and I wish you the best of luck in this coming up season, guys.
Thank you.
Well, I did want to just point out, you can always go to centralpennknights.com for the full schedule, but the home opener is September 8th against Penn State Greater Allegheny. Of course, save the date for homecoming on October 16th, and additional things will be coming out. Coach Grubesky, you talked about some themed games, and while we don't want to go into a ton of detail because those plans are still in the works, I think that the Knights Athletic Department is going to do a fantastic job to get some fans out there and to get some really unique fan experiences going on.
Yeah, you mentioned about these, you had worked with the baseball group. When we have like youth players that come to our game, I try to match them up with a current player, and they run onto the field and they stay out for the national anthem. And last year they were asking girls for their autograph.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just awesome. I think trying to do a family night. We've been working with Abby Bresky and Andrew in our athletic department to do theme games, and we'll be doing Pink Out, trying to raise money for breast cancer awareness. You mentioned the homecoming's huge because that's a huge recruiting event for us. Usually, recruits are allowed one overnight visit, at each school, so they typically come to our game, then they stay overnight with a player, and then come to the fall festival the next day, which is a really busy event on campus. So those types of things. The family night this year is going to be new, so we're really excited about the theme games.
Well, I'll tell you, it sounds like things are going well, so I wish you not only the best of luck, I hope the team stays injury-free, of course, but I know that this is going to be, one way or the other, it's going to be a successful season. So again, wish you the best of luck. And Alex, thank you so much for bringing not only your interest in doing this Day in the Life video, but your perspective on campus involvement, because that's one of the things, if you ever talk to me, that I am so big on. Like, please just be involved in something. If it's a sport, then that's great. If it's the nightly news, then that's great too. Or if it's more than just one thing, that's great, because in the long run, it's the things that you do, the opportunities that you seize when you're in college that are going to dictate you getting the job down the line. So I appreciate your insight as well.
Absolutely.
All right, well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I wanted to thank coach of the Central Penn Knights women's soccer team, Coach Rudy Grubesky. I wanted to thank Captain Honestee Coldsmith, and, of course, Nightly News President Alex Foley for joining us today. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. We'll see you again next time.